I actually have a little list in my pocket. I was going to do a PowerPoint presentation, but the I don't know why that's funny. But the wind is too strong for the screen, was what I was told, and so it was very long and boring anyway. I just wanted to tell you 5 little things about the show. One is, how did I get the job? I am a puppeteer and a political satirist. How do you say puppeteer?
Chitodeiro.
Chitodeiro. Huh? Chitereio. I do that good? Okay. So, my background is a puppeteer and a political satirist.
Ele trabalha com sátira política e trabalha com teatro de marionetes, é um titereiro.
And Oh,
They
okay.
didn't know what titereiro meant.
Oh.
So now I explained.
Chitereiro. Wiggle, wiggle. And I had a show many years ago about being a food engineer.
E há alguns anos eu tinha um show que falava sobre como ser um engenheiro de alimentos.
And how many of you are food engineers?
Tem aqui engenheiro de alimentos?
Okay. Go sit in the car. Yeah, food engineering. I was actually satirizing. I was making fun of food engineers. So I hope you'll forgive me.
Na verdade, ele fazia uma sátira dos engenheiros de alimentos. Então, desculpa aí.
I have never met food engineers before.
Eu não conhecia nenhum naquela época.
And I hope I never do again. No, I'm kidding.
Espero que continue assim.
But I had a show satirizing because there are some food ingredients that are explosive and some that are made of wood. And, you know, there's a lot of crazy explosives and made of wood.
Então, e na verdade eu fazia essa sátira porque dentro da engenharia de alimentos tem umas coisas muito esquisitas, no alimento em si, né? Tem coisas que explodem, tem coisas que são feitas de madeira, então eu fazia sátira com esses elementos.
What she said.
O que quer que seja.
So I did the show in a lab coat. And, laboratory, like a white lab coat. And they had seen, they were looking for somebody in Hollywood to play the part of Beakman. And they couldn't find anyone, believe it or not, in Hollywood. So they went looking, under the rug. They looked in the weird places, and they found me. But I think what's interesting about it is, in the audition, I knocked over a beaker of water. Like I wasn't doing so well. I was very stiff and uncomfortable and nervous. But then I knocked over a beaker of water, and then I played in the water and I threw it around. I put some cologne on, and that got me the job.
Rapidamente ele fazia esse show, ele usava um jaleco e o pessoal estava procurando para alguém para fazer o Beakman e não conseguiam achar em Hollywood. Estavam começando a procurar em lugares mais diferentes, esquisitos e tal. Ele foi chamado, fez a audição. Na hora da audição, ele derrubou uma jarra de água. E aí ele fez uma gracinha, pegou a água, fez uma colônia, tal, não sei o quê, e deu certo.
Yeah, and I guess in science too, I think improvising and mistake making is very important. Not to get all serious, but a lot of great scientific discoveries have been made through accident, obviously, and through improvisation and free thinking, thinking like an artist, which I think is helpful for scientists, yeah?
E na ciência, na verdade, eu acho que essa questão do improviso, de brincar com o erro mesmo, é uma coisa importante. Eu acho que muitas das descobertas da ciência foram achadas por aí mesmo, nessa improvisação, na criatividade do artista.
Okay, the next thing I wanted to tell you about was humor, jokes. Obviously, for Beakman, it's very important, the humor, and humor is very good. It's disarming, and I love telling jokes, and all of a sudden, it's gotten very serious out here. We did a lot of bodily functions on the show. Bodily functions.
Então, aí a gente trabalhava muito com humor, tal, e outras coisas que a gente fazia no show é trabalhar com as funções corporais.
It's sort of like, kids love bodily functions. They love like snot and throw up, barf.
E criança adora isso, né? Adora falar meleca, vômito, né?
Yeah, and sweat,
Né? Suor,
saliva. I had to make a list.
saliva. Eu fiz uma lista, tá, gente?
Yeah, dandruff,
Caspa,
body odor,
fedor, futum.
and the right, and the king and queen of all bodily functions, farting.
E a realeza, o peido.
Yeah. How do you say that? Pedo. Hi, my name is Pedo. So, you could say, well, why bodily functions? You know, it's so vulgar. That's what a lot of teachers thought. You know, like, oh my God, it's so vulgar. What's vulgar in Portuguese? Vulgar. But you know, bodily functions are like pornography for kids.
Você pode pensar por quê, né? Porque, na verdade, essas coisas são para criança que nem pornografia.
Yeah, because, you know, kids love it. You know, oh boy, snot.
Meleca.
So, you know, it's a way of sort of getting kids involved in science is by appealing to the things that interest them, you know? And we figured, well, snot, I mean, kids think that snot is, you know, a between-meal snack.
E na verdade é isso, né? Como você traz a criança para a ciência, como você consegue interessar ela, né? E meleca, gente, meleca para criança é salgadinho entre refeições, né?
Right. There's a guy in the back going, but it's interesting to tell the kids, well, actually, it has a function, which is that it's sticky like a trap to catch germs and dirt and stuff like that. So kids can then look at themselves and see themselves in a different light, like there's a purpose to all these things in their body.
Mas aí você começa a falar, não, essa consistência dela, essa coisa de ser mais melada é legal porque segura os germes, né? Deixa a sujeira para fora. E as crianças começam a ver neles mesmo uma história da ciência.
Yeah. So that's what we did. We did farting and burping, and we didn't do like shitting or anything. Beakman has a bad mouth.
E aí foi assim, a gente
Yeah.
fez pum, a gente fez arroto, cocô a gente não fez.
So, you know, it was a way to get kids involved. Another thing I want to mention is 52%.
E outra coisa que eu queria falar para vocês, afora envolver as crianças desse jeito, é que 52%
Of the audience in the United States was adults.
do público, dos espectadores dos Estados Unidos eram adultos.
And it was on at 7:30 in the morning on Saturdays.
E o show passava às 7:30 da manhã no sábado.
So the adults were probably a little bit like, I hate this guy. The reason it appealed to adults was because the adults felt like they would get it. You
Mas
follow me?
a razão pela qual, na verdade, tinha esse apelo para o adulto é que o adulto pensava também, não, isso eu entendo também.
Because it was a show for kids about science,
Porque era um show para crianças sobre ciência.
then they would understand it. Adults would understand it.
E aí os adultos conseguiam entender.
And science, you know, is very difficult for a lot of people. It's very inscrutable.
Porque a ciência é uma coisa difícil, né? Uma coisa meio inescrutinável, né? You just know nice words.
Oh, okay. All right, I'm making jokes and I don't even know it.
Eu não entendi a piada.
That's great. That's one of the great things about being on television. You can work while you're sleeping.
O bom da televisão é isso, você trabalha enquanto você está dormindo.
Yeah. You liked that joke, didn't you?
Adoraram a piada, hein?
All right. Now, I wanted to talk about Mark Ritz. Mark Ritz was the guy who played Lester the Rat on the show.
Eu queria falar sobre o Mark
Yeah.
Ritz, que fazia o Lester, o rato do show.
And I'm imagining many of you know that he died about 2.5 years ago of
Acho que muitos de
cancer.
vocês sabem que ele faleceu há 2 anos e meio.
And he was somebody who I loved very much. And I'm not just saying that. I'm you know, I mean, if I didn't love the guy, if I didn't really care for him, I wouldn't be talking about him right now.
E ele era uma pessoa muito querida. Eu não estou falando isso por nada. Realmente era uma pessoa que eu gostava muito.
I'd be talking about me.
Eu ia passar meu tempo falando dele, falaria de mim.
But Mark was really, really a wonderful man, very sweet man. And he has 2 sons and a daughter. And whenever they were on the set, they were always very affectionate with him. You know, they were always hanging on him.
Mas ele era realmente uma pessoa muito doce, muito carinhosa, afetiva. Ele tinha 2 filhos, e uma menina e uma filha, e eles estavam sempre lá no set. Ele era muito carinhoso com os filhos.
So I think anytime you see a parent whose kids are so physically affectionate with, you know that he's got a really good heart and he's a really good person.
Eu acho que você vê um pai, né, com os filhos tão assim carinhosos com ele, você sabe que é uma pessoa legal.
He also he was a puppeteer, so we're both puppeteers, which is really weird.
Ele também fazia teatro de marionetes junto comigo, que é muito estranho.
And he was hired to do a puppet on the show. Lester the Rat was originally a puppet on the show.
E na verdade ele foi contratado para fazer uma parte de marionete no show. O Lester ia ser um marionete.
So he showed up to work expecting to do a puppet, and we said, "No, actually, you're a guy in a rat suit."
Não, na verdade você vai ser um cara usando uma fantasia de rato.
And his reaction was a little like, "What?" But he went to Harvard University, so he was, yeah. And I used to tease him about it a lot because I'm jealous. But he was a really terrific performer, and he made it so that we had to be terrific performers too. We, just to be up to his level, I had to really work hard because he was so good at what he did.
Mas ele era realmente uma pessoa fantástica. Ele fez Harvard, a gente ficava com inveja disso nele, e ele era um ator performático muito bom. Ele elevava o trabalho de uma forma que a gente ia atrás para ficar no nível dele.
And the final thing I'd say about Mark was I was very lucky at the end of his life to help care for him in the last, 3 or 4 months or 6 months of his life. And one time, he was very sick and he was in bed and he couldn't get out of bed. And I was making him dinner. And his wife had gone to rehearsal and she was getting a break. And I accidentally locked myself out of the house.
E uma coisa engraçada do Mark, no final da vida dele, eu tive até o privilégio de cuidar dele nos últimos 4, 6 meses antes dele falecer. E uma noite a mulher dele saiu para um ensaio e eu estava fazendo jantar e não sei o que aconteceu, mas eu me tranquei para fora da casa.
So I was really uptight. I mean, really like, oh my God, I'm locked out of the house. And I kept calling her and calling her. Well, when I finally got in touch with her, she thought it was hilarious. And so it worked out okay. But 2 things that Mark said to me. He said, cancer sucks. And I think we all agree about that. And then a couple of weeks before he died, he said, Paul, life is beautiful. And while that may be, somewhat of a cliche, okay, life is beautiful, but when somebody who's dying and, clearly knows he's passing away says life is beautiful, well, that's something that I think it's important for me personally to remember every day, because he taught me something really great, so...
Bom, no episódio da chave eu acabei entrando, deu tudo certo, mas enfim, 2 coisas que o Mark me falou ficaram comigo, né? A primeira é que o câncer é uma droga, e acho que todo mundo concorda com isso. E depois que a vida é bela, que é uma coisa que parece meio clichê, mas na verdade quando uma pessoa que está morrendo fala isso para você, faz uma diferença danada.
So anyway, the last thing I wanted to say is, I hear a lot from people, like online or in person, and they will say, like many of you have said to me while I've been here, they'll say, I'm a scientist today because of you, or I teach scientists today because of you, or I'm a nurse because of you, or, I'm a geologist, or whatever it may be.
E a última coisa que eu queria falar é uma coisa que sempre me perguntam online, mesmo nos lugares, aqui já aconteceu isso, as pessoas chegam para mim e falam essa coisa da ciência, né? Eu sou um cientista por causa de você, eu ensino por causa de você, eu sou um geólogo por causa de você, uma enfermeira.
And a lot of people will preface it by saying, you must be really sick of hearing this.
E as pessoas começam geralmente falando, você já deve estar cheio de ouvir isso.
But I must say, I never ever will ever get sick of hearing that.
E eu vou falar uma coisa para vocês, nunca, jamais, em tempo algum, eu vou ficar cheio de ouvir isso.
Thank you. So if you guys have some questions, why don't you raise your hand? We have a question here. Yell it out really loud,
Tem
okay?
que falar alto. A
Okay.
pergunta é se ele conhecia ou tinha ideia da fama que ele tinha no Brasil.
No. And I've been trying to understand why, but I think it's because the show was on prime time, and the only other thing on was the news. And it was on, I think, maybe 5 days a week or something. So we were the only thing on television, so we were popular.
Eu ainda estou tentando saber porquê, mas basicamente o que me falaram é que ele passava no horário das 8, né? A opção era o jornal, então a gente ficou popular.
Yeah, I mean, I also maybe think that something about the spirit of the show came across, you know, the humor and the sensibility, and, you know, we really wanted to be that. We wanted to strike people and have people really, you know, dig the show. So I'm glad someone in the world did.
E tem essa coisa do show, né? Do humor, da sensibilidade. Na verdade era isso. A meta do programa era mesmo envolver as pessoas, né? E eu fico feliz que em algum lugar do mundo a gente conseguiu isso.
Yeah, and the rest of Latin America too. There are a lot of people in Latin America and Central America. I mean, the show's been on in China and in Taiwan. Like a friend of mine came home and said, "Dude, you're on TV in China." I was like, "Really?" And that was the last time I ever talked about it or heard about it. He says, "Yeah, China." And China's big, I think. But I don't get, this may be a little bit vulgar to say, but I don't get paid for any of that. I got paid to be on the show, but I don't, when you see me on TV, it's not like cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. I don't get paid because I got screwed. You don't need to translate that. Okay. How about another question?
You have 2 minutes to go.
Yeah? Right.
A pergunta é, ela está estudando, faz biologia, vai ser professora, e a ideia é usar alguma das coisas, alguns dos conceitos que ele usou no show dele para aula. E se ele tinha consciência disso, né? Quando ele fazia o show, se essas coisas, os professores podiam absorver isso e se tornar uma maneira de dar aula.
I think humor is really important as a teaching tool, and being, you know, funny and charming and all that stuff is important for a teacher. I mean, maybe I'm full of shit, I don't know, but also to have to look at these things from an artist's perspective, or to be artistic, you know what I mean? To be able to communicate, all these things are important. You want to translate that?
Acho que sim, acho que parte de ser professor é isso, é trazer o humor mesmo, é ser carismático, essas coisas importantes. E essa coisa da arte, né, de ser artístico, isso é uma coisa que eu acho que conecta as pessoas.
I had no idea, the same as the, you know, popular in Brazil having an effect. You know, I went to the factory and I punched the clock and I went home, and then once every month I turn on the TV and I say, "Oh, look, there's me," and I turn it off.
Mas eu não tinha ideia, como a questão da popularidade. Eu sou peão, né? Você vai lá, vai para a fábrica, bate o cartão e faz o trabalho. Eu, uma vez por mês, ia lá, ligava a televisão e me via, mas era só um trabalho.
Now, I loved doing it. All we did was have fun all day long on the set. We laughed our asses off all day long. And that's another thing that should happen in class, I think, right? I mean, aren't your best teachers ones who have great senses of humor and who have a sort of lightness of being and a joie de vivre?
Mas é isso, né? Na verdade, não me entendo mal. A gente se divertia muito, era muito legal, me divertia do primeiro ao último minuto, todos os dias que eu estava fazendo. Mas tem a ver isso, né? O professor, o trabalho do professor, as aulas mais divertidas são aquelas pessoas mesmo, que têm esse a mais, né? O joie de vivre.
Yeah, joie de vivre. Mocking me because I had French in my background.
Vocês estão tirando um sarro só porque eu aprendi francês.
And all I can say to that is, merde. Okay, I don't mean to be rude. Let's do a couple more questions. Yeah? A little louder, please.
The doubling, yes, when they doubled the show.
Oh. Uh-oh. With their flippers.
Com as barbadas.
Yeah, yeah, with their flippers. Cool. Well, thank you, yeah. And any other questions?
A última, gente.
Yeah, what about you there? Yeah?
Together the show, what did you do with the questions that required more theory? Did you have consultants? Did you look into books? What did you do to get the answers right?
Well, we had a core of writers. We had, I guess, about 6 writers, and they did research. There was an expert who was actually an award-winning high school teacher who was the science consultant. But I was not involved in the research. I was more involved in helping translate the information into something visual and something funny. Those are my fields of expertise. How to make something simple and amusing and interesting to look at. And it's what I do in my adult puppet shows as well.
A gente tinha um grupo de mais ou menos 6 pessoas que faziam, escreviam, e tinha um consultor que na verdade era um professor, que era o consultor técnico. Mas na verdade eu não estava envolvido nessa parte das questões. O que eu fazia era pegar esse conhecimento, essa informação e transformar isso numa coisa que fosse visual, que fosse simples, essa linguagem de televisão para as pessoas entenderem. E é mais ou menos o que eu faço hoje com o show de marionetes que eu faço.
There was someone over here waving like they were sinking in a boat. I'm going to answer these 2 questions, and then I'm going to go and see if Beakman is here yet.
Eu vou responder mais essas 2 e aí a gente vê se o Beakman chegou.
You want to go ahead? Where was what? No, the question was who operated the 2 penguin puppets, and Mark Ritz operated one of them, and a puppeteer operated the other one. I didn't do it because I was in, 95% of the shots, and once in a while they would let me go home because the days were very, very long, and it was very hard work. Because we all want to do the best work we can. You just work really hard, and I really loved my job. I had such a good time. It was just laughs all day long. And I remember one day someone broke in my car and stole something out of my car. And for the first day I came to the set and I was all like glum. You know, I was all sad and depressed. And the whole crew was like, they were like, what the hell? What's wrong with him? And everyone on the set was all glum and depressed and sad. And I thought, then I saw a guy in a wheelchair who came to visit the set, and I was like, I'm depressed and sad because I lost my notebook in the car today? What the hell, you know? So, I don't remember what your question was, but...
A pergunta foi quem manipulava os pinguins, o Mark fazia um deles, ele não conseguia porque ele estava em cena 95% do tempo, então não dava. E, na verdade, você quer fazer o melhor que você pode, né? Nesse tempo todo do show, sempre super, um ambiente ótimo, todo mundo feliz. Eu lembro um dia que ficou meio mal porque arrombaram meu carro e levaram o notebook. E aí eu cheguei no estúdio mal, todo mundo falando, o que será que aconteceu e tal. E aí eu vi um cara entrando no estúdio numa cadeira de rodas. Eu falei, pô, eu tô mal porque levaram o notebook. E aí rapidinho mudou o clima.
Okay, and your question? No. Yeah, I can do that. Bada bing, bada bang, bada boom. I will now go get Beakman. Okay, he'll be here momentarily. Thanks for being. It really means a lot to me how wonderful folks have been to me here, and I want to thank you all for your hospitality. Again, I wouldn't say if it wasn't true, but man, I love Brazil. What a great place, what wonderful people you are. So thanks, and let's sign some autographs and hang out a little bit, all right? Thanks.
Gente, só explicando como vai funcionar, o Paul foi embora.